Hey everyone, Rob Brended here. I'm going to be talking about the kind of fundamental framework you want to be using when you're working with your body. This is the one I use for myself, and it's like the premise is that you can work with yourself like a computer. So I'm going to be explaining sort of just the framework of how that is, and then as I do more videos, I'll go into more detail. But it's kind of like I'm going through the structure of my book review at the moment, and I thought, why not do a video on this, because it would kind of help you to see what the book's going to be about, but also you can start to internalize this and start working on yourself and getting results, which is why we do this, right? So it's like in the way I'm working with someone, it forms a triad. So with your computer, let's say you are a computer. If you imagine yourself as a computer, so everyone's got a computer, like just a desktop. Okay, it could be the same with a phone, if you like, a smartphone. So on my desktop right now, like the screen's a little bit. It's not very bright, so I can turn the screen up. I can see that I have these web browsers open. My computer's new, so it's really fast. I don't have too many things downloaded on it. But what happens is when we're born, the computer is kind of got a lot of space on it to grow. You're downloading stuff the whole time. But as with anything, and if you imagine with your computer, let's say you never delete your emails. So after a while, it starts building up, and that starts to take up space on your computer. If you never close your web browsers, that would start taking up space on your computer. If you're downloading stuff the whole time from the internet or from the intranet, let's say you're at in a company, and whenever something's sent, it's getting downloaded onto your actual computer, it's going to start using up space. So after a while, it becomes glitchy, right? It slows down. You get the whirring sign, and it just becomes very difficult to use. And in some cases, it's not possible to use anymore. It just comes. It's an absolute pain in the ass. So this is how our minds work. You could say that the web browsers are like stories that we tell ourselves about things that have happened. You start thinking about a particular, maybe you had a relationship that ended, and you keep the web browser open because you keep going back to it again and again. So if you imagine you have thousands upon thousands of little stories, web browsers open, and that uses up the space, right, on your mind. You have thoughts and emotions and stories, and they're all spinning up, how would I say, like a cache. There's a cache to them, and so every time they run, they accumulate a cache, and that accumulative effect of the web browser starts to build over time and accumulates. We also have with our minds, we download other people's emotions, and this is if you're around someone who is, say, very sad, usually you come away and you go, I feel really sad from that person. It's a skill, and people who are on the left of the hamster wheel are very good at empathizing, because it's a defense mechanism to understand people so you can support them and be the nice person and people please. The people on the right of the hamster wheel, and I've just gone into hamster wheels, bear with me. The people on the right of the hamster, I'm going to talk about them in a second. People on the right of the hamster wheel don't empathize with others so much as they use that to sometimes win. An exaggeration would be like a narcissist manipulating people because he knows that there's no empathy towards others. We can resonate with others, so we can connect with other people's computers and run them as our own. There's collective influences. So all the computers in the world can affect our computer. Yeah. Yeah, so we have memories, we have files, all of this is starting to build up on your desktop. And everyone's walking around and they have no idea that this is happening, and they wonder why they want to get drunk or smoke weed, get out of their head, all costs, distract themselves from the internal experience, this mental experience. People, I think it was men, would prefer to be get electrically shocked than be alone. People can't be alone anymore. They're constantly on their screens trying to distract themselves from that internal environment, because it's there's too much stuff going on. So just like you're on your desktop, I'm going to close it down. I don't want to get rid of it, So what we need to understand is that we have an internal GPS, an internal activity monitor, that you can find out what is taking up most of the energy of your mind, and it's you're able to close it, just like you could you go to a desktop and you go activity monitor on a Mac, and you go, what's using up all my energy, what's exhausting my energy of my battery, and then you can go to it and you can close it. Well, we know how to do that. There is a way to do that, and in my book I talk about it. Very simple. It should be taught at school. It works. It seems like it's not. It's very difficult to get your logic around it, because it's more of a felt sense, internal physiological sensitivity. It's like another sense that needs to be developed. Interestingly, people who are extremely logical scientists could learn it, but they're much more in their heads, and they have difficulty feeling the energy of a 1 and 0. So there's a code that underpins this and enables us to switch things on and off, which are glitchy on the computer. So I'm going to explain in my book how to do that. So that's like the desktop experience, and you understand that if you don't clean up your desktop, you're going to get into trouble. Okay, same with the mind. Then we also have so I've got a Mac. Mac has an operating system, Mac OS. I'm not a big techie person, but I understand a little bit. The operating system is how it's set up, and it's not easy to access that. It's like the deep structure of the computer, and the operating system that is running deep in the background. You can't see it. Makes it all work nicely. Now, you have a deep operating system. It's the one that you're not aware of, and it's been conditioned by your parents and their parents and our ancestors, and through the whole of humanity has conditioned that operating system to work. The mind works. When you look at it, it seems like everyone's different, but they're not. Everyone's the same. They are different in that sameness, in that there are 5 main programs that are running unconsciously in that operating system, that are running you, controlling you. And the kind of Taoists knew, they didn't have a computer analogy back thousands of years ago, but Lao Tzu talked about the nature of these operating systems, how they run. And the Taoist, the yin and yang aspect of life. Well, this you're going to learn in my book, how to access that and how to see it, how to see the behavior of the mind, of these operating systems. And there's 5 of them. I explain them. How did I find those? Who did I learn that of? I learned them from myself, from observing. And so this is an area that you will have to do yourself. You'll have to see them yourself. But that means you're going to have to take responsibility. And most people are sheep and they don't want to. Okay, so that's just how it is. So, but if you're interested in becoming your own authority and becoming masterless, being your own sovereign individual and being free, then this is going to be, your wet dream. This is where the rubber hits the road. It's how you get results with changing that deep operating system. So changing yourself, how you are, all those negative programs, all the limiting stuff that you've had all your life. You're not good enough. You should be doing more. You can never you can never stop doing, or you never start doing. You're worried that you're going to waste your life. You'll never reach your potential. You worry about others, or you can't commit to relationships, or you name it. It's set in stone in your operating system. And so I explain exactly how to go about. Let me just make sure I've got that right. Yeah, you gotta. This is the stuff that you have to, as I said, spend your time looking at. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, what the 5 programs are, and you can immediately start looking for them. And it's absolutely awesome. It's gone a little bit dark here, so just hopefully, well, you can hear what I'm saying anyway. You don't really see me. So there's that deep operating system. To change it, it takes a special, very special way, that I'm going to explain how to do it in the book, and you're going to do it. And then there's the third aspect of the triad for optimal living, or optimal life, optimized life, and being masterless. That's the battery. So you imagine you have a computer and you just want to be able to use it. And if something goes wrong, you can fix it yourself. If something's bothering you, you can fix it yourself. This is what my book's about. So you have the desktop, you clear your cache, close your browsers, you know how to use it. When you find something's going really wrong on the way the computer works, the deep operating system, you can go in. And then there's the third part, which is the battery. And as you know, with a computer or with your phone, when the battery starts dying, everything starts to shut down. It goes into low battery mode, but it starts to change how you can interact with the computer. It starts to slow down. The display changes. It goes into survival mode, and then it doesn't work. So the battery, and I'm going to go into that in my book, is made up of minerals. So we're an electrical body. We are a battery that needs to be recharged. We have to purposely go about recharging that, because we're retarded. We've lost the way, right, of knowing, and our convenience in our lives now with blue light, the lighting, sitting down, computers. We have lost the way to connect to nature and recharge ourselves. So there's ways to recharge externally, but our food is a way for us to get our minerals. And it's mineral dysregulation that is at the heart of my work on remineralizing the body and remineralizing the battery. That one chapter, that one chapter explains all chronic inflammatory diseases, explains them, and so how to not have those chronic inflammatory diseases, from diabetes, heart disease, cancer, neurological disorders, Alzheimer's, dementia, brain stuff, skin stuff, acne, weight gain, all hormonal stuff. Pretty much everything comes down to remineralization. It's a great chapter. And so what you'll find is when you get low on those minerals, it starts to affect the way your desktop is showing. It starts to affect how you think. It starts to affect dopamine, your neurotransmitters. These start to affect your hormones. So you start to get fatigue. And when your battery level goes down, it affects how you think. So it affects your mind. So the mind and the desktop, and so the mind and the deep operating system chew through these minerals. So the Chinese knew this many thousands of years ago, that our mind affects our body, but the research now is pretty clear. Like, you have to be really in nimwit to not realize that your mind and your body are exactly the same things. So we have the deep operating system and the mind chewing up the minerals, fear, and then there's aspects of our environment like glyphosate, never can say it properly, antibiotics, a light environment, high corn fructose, the sugar. What's another thing? Yeah, iron, filings added to the food system. All of these things are causing a cascade of mineral. The mineral way to charge the batteries is broken. So in that chapter, I'm going to explain to you exactly how to charge, what to do to charge your battery. And it's simple and it's pretty cheap. Well, sunlight's cheap, and getting your feet in the soil is cheap. But there are other things to do with your food that I'm going to put forward my ideas on that, and you can take them and try them out if you want to. So that's just a kind of a framework for the how to work with your body. I'm using a computer analogy in the book because everyone's got a computer, right? And people are walking around and they actually don't know how to close the cache, close the web browsers, empty their trash, just the simple things. They do on their computer, but they don't with their own mind. And it is that simple. We can do it ourselves. I've done it for decades for others, and I can do it on myself instantly. So we have that. No one knows how to change the deep operating system. But there are, certain gurus, spiritual teachers that teach ways to do that. But if you look at Lao Tzu, the Taoist, it was always a personal journey. You can't follow anyone else. You have to observe your own operating system. And that is the way to enlightenment or understanding the self, which is really meditation. So the book's going to give you the ability, to do that, to observe your own behavior. And then the battery section, I think, is fascinating. It's an area of, the body that I've been working with for 3 decades. I've tried everything, looking for, and I've always, when I found the result, I've kept that, everything else has gone. And then I built up this idea. And then fairly recently, I found someone who, it was like, oh my God, that was the one thing that I was missing. And so it's a brilliant chapter and I use it myself. So you're going to have everything you need to be masterless with yourself. That means that, if you want to go see a therapist, you can, if you need sort of different angles, but you should be able to keep your health, your mental health and your health in absolute harmony with these the 3 aspects of the book to go away with. I do know someone has sent me a question in the comments, and I will reply to that. Apologies for not doing that sooner. If you have a question, please put it in the below, and I will respond to it. And again, it would be so great if you could share this and like this, as it helped me get my message out. Stop talking. Thanks so much. And have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.